Something really interesting is starting to bubble up around Lakers training camp, and it all revolves around a name we haven't talked about in a while, Jared Vanderbilt. The buzz is getting louder, the eyes are turning toward him, and everything coming out of camp suggests Vanderbilt is finally starting to look like that 2023 version of himself again. The guy who looked like a game changer on the defensive end. And if that's true, if he really is trending back toward that level, then everything changes for the Lakers. For those who might have forgotten, the 2023 version of Jared Vanderbilt was an absolute defensive beast. He wasn't just good. He was statistically one of the most versatile and impactful defenders in the entire league. Even last season, while recovering from double foot surgery, yes, on both feet, Vanderbilt still managed to defend positions 1 through 5 effectively. Just think about that. The guy literally had to relearn how to walk, and still, he was one of the most reliable defenders the Lakers had. That alone tells you what kind of athlete and worker he is. Of course, last season, he wasn't quite the same Vanderbilt we saw in 2023. He looked a step slower, sometimes out of position, just not that same disruptive force. But now, reports out of camp say he's moving well, he's showing that agility again, and he's back to doing what made him so valuable in the first place. And if that's true, if that version of Vanderbilt is back, the Lakers might be sitting on a serious defensive weapon. This isn't just about having a good defender. We're talking about a guy who, when healthy, elevates the entire defense. Back in 2023, when the Lakers traded for him, the team jumped from being middle of the pack defensively to the top of the league. That's not coincidence. That's impact. His ability to switch across positions, chase guys around screens, make hustle plays, grab tough rebounds, force turnovers. Those are all things that don't always show up in the box score but win you games. Now, the one area that's always been in question with Vanderbilt is his offense. He's never been an offensive threat, not even a consistent floor spacer. But here's the thing. He doesn't need to be elite offensively. If he could just be decent, like 34 to 35% from 3, especially from that right side corner where he already shoots well, then you've got something dangerous. A guy who can hit an open 3 just enough to keep the defense honest. That's all you really need when he's giving you elite-level defense. And I know people roll their eyes when they hear Vanderbilt's been working on a shot, like we've heard that before. But let's clear that up. Since joining the Lakers, he hasn't really had a full, healthy offseason to work on anything. When he was first traded, there was a short window where he showed promise. Even had a game where he went 2 for 5 from 3, and people started getting excited. But then he got hurt, and the following offseason, he was rehabbing double foot surgery. So no, we haven't seen this story play out before. This is genuinely the first time he's come into camp fully healthy, with time to develop his shot and polish his offensive tools. And from what's being said, it shows. His mechanics are cleaner. That little hitch in his shot is gone. And more than anything, he's shooting with confidence. And that's huge, because Vanderbilt doesn't need to become a scoring option. He just needs to not be a liability. If teams can't completely sag off him and pack the paint, that opens up everything for the rest of the offense. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. His fit next to Luka Doncic might actually be better than it was with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Why? Because Luka's game is perimeter-based. He's a jump shooter, a guy who loves operating in space, pulling up off the dribble, or hitting step-backs. He doesn't need an open paint the way LeBron or AD do. Vanderbilt being out there, even if he's not a threat, doesn't hurt Luka's game the same way it can clog things up for LeBron or Davis, who both thrive attacking the rim or working from inside 10 feet. Luka likes having traffic in the paint because it gives him chances to collapse the defense and make plays. Whether he's tossing up a lob, threading a pass to the corner, or just pulling up over a contest, he's comfortable in that chaos. That means Vanderbilt doesn't become a problem. He becomes another potential target. If he's cutting off the ball, slipping into open space, and Luka finds him, Vanderbilt just needs to be ready to finish strong at the rim. That's the next step. He's got to convert those looks. No more missed bunnies. No more awkward finishes. He has to be that lob threat, that guy who goes up and flushes it, even through contact. And sure, we all remember the playoff run where Vanderbilt got played off the court. But let's be fair. That wasn't just about him. That was about the lineup construction and the limitations that came from having LeBron and AD, two guys who both need space inside. When teams packed the paint and dared Vanderbilt to shoot, he couldn't make them pay, and it killed the spacing. But again, Luka changes that equation. Luka doesn't care if the paint's crowded. He'll score right over you or kick it out at the perfect moment. That makes Vanderbilt's offensive limitations much less of a concern in a Luka-led offense. And the other thing that needs to be said, the best five-man unit the Lakers had during Vanderbilt's time was D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis. Statistically, that lineup was elite. But for whatever reason, Darvin Ham rarely went to it. Even when Vanderbilt was healthy, it just wasn't used. That's frustrating because the numbers showed it worked, and not just because of the stars. Vanderbilt was a major part of what made that group click. So here's where things get real. If Jared Vanderbilt is actually back to his 2023 form, and if he can add just enough on offense to not be a liability, especially knocking down corner threes at a 34 or 35% clip, then he absolutely should be in the starting lineup. He's the Lakers' best perimeter defender. He covers ground like almost nobody else. He makes hustle plays that shift momentum. And at just 26 years old, he's only going to get better. The real hope is that this is the year where it all starts coming together. If he can stay healthy, and that's a big if, but if he does, and if his shot really has improved like everyone around the team is saying, then watch out. Because we're not just talking about a good role player. We're talking about a potential difference maker in a conference full of stars. That's what makes the timing of all this so important. The Lakers are heading into a season where every little edge matters. The Western Conference is stacked. We're talking about teams that can light it up from deep, teams with multiple stars, elite coaches, and championship expectations. You can't afford to have gaps, especially on defense. And that's where Vanderbilt becomes a massive swing factor. If he's truly back to being that guy, the one who flies around the court, makes life miserable for opposing scorers, creates chaos, then suddenly the Lakers don't just have a solid defender. They've got a weapon, a disruptor. And in today's NBA, that's gold. But the beauty of Vanderbilt's game isn't just in how well he defends. It's in how many things he does that most players don't want to do. He's the one diving on the floor for a loose ball in the second quarter of a regular season game. He's the one boxing out a guy 3 inches taller just to get a tap out and give his team another possession. He's the guy who rotates when someone else misses an assignment and makes the block that saves a run. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't go viral on social media, but coaches see it. Teammates feel it. And over the course of a season, those plays add up. They tilt games. They turn losses into wins. And what's crazy is, despite all that, there was a stretch where it felt like Vanderbilt had just fallen out of the Lakers' plans entirely. Darvin Ham started tinkering with lineups, experimenting with smaller units, leaning into more offensive options, and Vanderbilt just kind of disappeared. Even when healthy, he wasn't seeing consistent minutes. And that never really made sense because what he brings to the table is exactly what this team lacks when things get tough. Toughness, energy, and accountability on defense. It's one thing to have guys who can score, but it's another thing entirely to have a player who takes pride in stopping the other team's best weapon. This year, that has to change. If the Lakers are serious about contending, Vanderbilt has to be a foundational piece in that rotation. He doesn't need to be playing 35 minutes a night, but he does need a consistent role, especially when the Lakers face those wing-heavy, switch-heavy teams in the West. Teams like the Clippers, who can throw 3 for versatile wings on the court at once. Or the Nuggets, who use movement and spacing to get mismatches. You need a guy like Vanderbilt to navigate that chaos, to fight over screens, to challenge shots, to close out without fouling. And again, he's shown he can do that even at 70%. Imagine what he can do at full health. And then there's the offensive side, which can't be ignored. He's not expected to be a scorer. That's never been his role. But what the Lakers need from him is simple. Keep the defense honest. If he's left open, knock down the shot. If there's a cut to the rim, make it sharp and with purpose. If the ball swings to him late in the clock, he has to be ready to either shoot with confidence or keep the ball moving without hesitation. Too often last season, he would catch the ball and look unsure, pump fake, hesitate, look around. And in today's NBA, even a half-second delay can kill a possession. It lets the defense recover. It lets the window close. What we're hearing out of training camp now, though, is that hesitation might finally be gone. That he's playing with conviction again. That he's trusting his work. And that's where things start to get scary for the rest of the league. Because if Vanderbilt becomes even an average offensive threat, then his value skyrockets. You're no longer playing 4-on-5 on offense. You're no longer hiding him in the corner and hoping the defense ignores him. You're running plays that involve him. You're using him in pick and rolls, trusting he can catch and finish, maybe even attack a closeout now and then. That unlocks entirely new dynamics for the offense. Now, obviously, we've still got to see him preseason. We've got to see how he looks over real game reps. It's one thing to show out in a scrimmage or look good in a workout. It's another to do it under the lights. But everything points to him being ready. And the timing couldn't be better. Because again, this Lakers roster has a ton of talent, but it's also built on fit and chemistry. You've got LeBron, who at this stage needs reliable defenders around him. You've got AD, who plays best when he doesn't have to guard every single position by himself. You've got shooters, creators, and floor spacers, but what you need is that guy who ties it all together defensively. That's Jared Vanderbilt. And think about how much that kind of player means in the postseason. The deeper you go, the more every possession matters. You can't afford defensive lapses. You can't afford energy dips. And that's where Vanderbilt shines. He brings the same motor whether it's Game 4 of a back-to-back in January or Game 7 in May. That consistency is rare. That mentality is hard to find. And when you pair it with legit athleticism and a growing offensive toolkit, you've got something that very few teams can match. He's also still incredibly young, 26 years old. He won't even turn 27 until the playoffs roll around. That means you're not just banking on what he is now, you're investing in what he can still become. And if he's already this good defensively, imagine where he can be in a year or two if he keeps building confidence in his offensive game. The Lakers might have a long-term piece here. Someone who's not just valuable for this season, but someone who becomes part of the core moving forward. Of course, there's still questions. Will Darvin Ham commit to giving Vanderbilt consistent minutes, even if the offense takes time to catch up? Will the Lakers prioritize defense in their rotations, especially early in the season when roles are still being defined? Will Vanderbilt stay healthy now that he's finally back from that brutal recovery process? These are all valid concerns. But right now, everything seems to be trending in the right direction. There's always going to be talk about stars, about the big names and the flashy plays. But every title team needs guys like Vanderbilt. Guys who do the dirty work, who never take a possession off, who make life easier for everyone else around them. And if this really is the version of Jared Vanderbilt that's back, the healthy, locked-in, confident defender who's no longer a zero on offense, then the Lakers just got a lot more dangerous. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, in what could be the most talked about pre-game comment of the NBA season, Phoenix Suns head coach Jordan Ott has stirred the pot with a few provocative words aimed at their longtime rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers. Speaking to reporters ahead of tonight's matchup at the Footprint Center, Ott didn't hold back, offering sharp criticism of the Lakers' recent performances. While he couched some of it in humor, the undertone was unmistakable. The Suns are confident, and they want the Lakers to know it. It's hard to take seriously a team that seems to be coasting on reputation rather than results, Ott reportedly said, sparking immediate chatter across social media and sports talk shows alike. He went on to question the Lakers' defensive cohesion and suggested that their star players might be overhyped in recent weeks. Sources close to the Suns' locker room claim that Ott's remarks weren't off the cuff, but part of a deliberate strategy to get his team fired up and put the Lakers on edge. Fans and analysts have been quick to react, with some praising Ott's candor and others warning that such comments could backfire, giving the Lakers added motivation to dominate on the court. It's classic trash talk, but coming from a coach, it carries more weight, said one insider. Rumors are already circulating that LeBron James and Anthony Davis have heard about Ott's statements and may be ready to respond in kind once tip-off arrives. This latest volley adds yet another chapter to the storied Suns-Lakers rivalry, which has seen its share of drama both on and off the court. While the Suns are currently riding high on a strong season, the Lakers have been struggling to find consistency, making Ott's timing all the more pointed. Some speculate that this is a psychological play, Ott's attempt to shift pressure onto Los Angeles while rallying his own squad behind a unifying message of dominance. As tip-off approaches, the atmosphere in Phoenix is electric. The media frenzy surrounding Ott's comments has brought an extra layer of tension to what is already a high-stakes matchup. Will the Suns back up their coach's bold words with a statement victory, or will the Lakers use the criticism as fuel to silence the doubters? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The chatter started well before the ball even hits the floor. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.